Welcome back to another episode of Essential Pedagogy. I'm Steph, the Educator, and I just want to set the premise of what this podcast is about and remind you. I know a lot of people have watched the show for quite some time. It's been, a year now? Maybe a year, almost coming upon a year, that the podcasts have been going on strong, and I'm excited about that. My hope for this podcast is as a result of listening to this podcast that people get an inside view of my profession in education. I'm in public education, and they develop some type of compassion for the profession and for insiders of the profession to develop more compassion for outsiders um, in the of our profession. So, without further ado, I want to talk to you about what our topic is today. Our topic is about the psychology of education, and I came up with this. I came up with this because um, I listen to a lot of psychology podcasts, and I, I guess it morphed into me listening to psychology podcasts, listening to experts like on Hidden Brain podcast and Two Guys on Your Head um, podcasts like that. I listen to some Christian podcasts, and I was listening to one recently, um, and they were talking about um, just the psychology of um, feeling a little bit of anxiety or um, like a job specific type of anxiety. And I thought, I feel anxiety every time August come around. Actually, the anxiety starts at 4th of July. A friend of mine always talked about it year after year. I've been in education. This is my 21st year in public education. And a friend of mine and we talk about it. She's in administration. And we say, oh, I can't stand Target. I love Target, but I can't stand Target because they put their um, school supply things out right at 4th of July. And I'm like, you know what? Can we just enjoy the time off like everybody else instead of reminding us that we got to go back to work? So the anxiety starts well before school starts. And I just I've been thinking about it a lot. Like, why am I feeling this way? Why I do like my job. I have some challenges with my job, and I have a somewhat of a love hate relationship sometimes with my job because it's dealing with imperfect people. I'm an imperfect person dealing with imperfect people all the time, all day, every day. And it's the public. So you cannot separate yourself from, oh, well, I only deal with the top 15% of intelligences. You deal with every type of an intelligence and every type of person with every type of value system that you can think of. Um, so there's anxiety built around there because uh, of the unknown. You don't know what you're going to come up against. It's like driving to a destination that you know where this destination is because I know the curriculum, I know basically what to do, but there's new initiatives. So guess what? There's new roads that were built. You're driving to this destination. There's new roads that are built, and you're driving in the dark. Like and you've been here before, but you're driving and it's pitch black. And I don't know if anybody has really driven in the country with no lights on the highway or street, but your lights from the car. It is super scary and dark, very scary. So I just want to talk about that a little bit and unpack that. We don't know what's coming. That's part of it. We don't. It's the unknown. So there's some anxiety there. Um, there's also unfinished residue from the previous year, and um, it's past work of unfinished residue. Since we have a job where the nature is this job is never finished, you have a sense of, well, I don't know if these same children are going to come back. Some do, some don't. That's the nature of public school. People move. A lot of schools are pretty stable, but if you teach in a city, you don't know if you're going to get the same crop of kids. You're happy to see some of them, but you have residue, especially if you don't teach or you roll with your kids. And what I mean with roll with your kids, if you roll up with your kids, as far as, oh, I taught sixth grade last year, I'm teaching seventh grade this year. Last year was sixth grade, seventh grade is this year. And now I get to see some of the same kids and help grow them where they were when I left off. You don't know if you get to do that. So you feel some kind of way starting with the unknown of, did I do enough? I wish I would have been able to say this, do that. Oh, maybe I should have done this differently. And so I feel like part of our anxiety comes from that. Um, the unmasterable nature of our profession is, you're never gonna master. I mean, they say there's a such thing as a master teacher until you have a different combination of kids and a different combination of standards and a different combination of what you're supposed to do when, as if um, and furniture or layout of the room or actual different part of the classroom, or adding something, a security measure that you just don't know how taxing it's going to be on you. Okay. This year, we started a digital hall pass. And it was so exciting to hear that I don't have to write a hall pass, or I don't have to find this lanyard, or the kids don't leave the lanyard in the bathroom with God knows what kind of germs and falling down on the ground and all this kind of stuff. Like, we were so excited about this digital hall pass, and we just was beside ourselves. But what we didn't expect with this digital hall pass is there's like extra work that needs to be done. Um, Not that it wasn't work with the writing of a pass or getting a actual lanyard to give to someone else, or a item that you give to the child to take as a hall pass. But some of the kids were they are confused, not necessarily confused. We just didn't know. Kids are raising their hand and they're giving us this little symbol here, which means we taught them that this is, can I go to the restroom? And so they're doing this. And then I said, oh, well, you can put in your request digitally. And so when they put in their request digitally, we can deny it or we can approve it. And so they haven't really got the knack of, oh, I can write a pass whenever I feel like it. So they're still asking us. Then I have to tell them, you need to do it digitally. And then they do it. Then I have to go back and say, oh, approve or decline, right? That was taking a lot. Then there were queues. So these queues are like, no, not all districts. All districts aren't doing this, but we have decided to do this at our school. And it's a public company. I don't know if it's public. I can't say that. They may be private, but it's a company that any district can subscribe to their program, and it's called Smart Pass. And what this does, it doesn't just give you the ability to give them a digital pass, but it also can give you a dashboard where you can see every kid in a school who's in the hall. So if you are afraid that maybe a altercation or fight may go down, and I'm going to answer your question, Luna Love. Okay. If you're afraid that a fight might go down, you could see who's in the hall from the dashboard because other teachers are participating in this digital um, hall pass. So then you can see what bathroom they're supposed to be in. You can see what, or if they are supposed to be at the nurse's office. You can see what hallways they're supposed to be in. You can deter possible fights if you know that there are students that aren't supposed to be in the hallway at the same time. So it's a great thing. It's called Smart Pass, and we adopted that. But it causes us to work on top of learning our kids, getting them acclimated, figuring out some of their needs at the beginning of the year, getting our schedules together and things like that. It just causes a little bit more extra work and it's making us tired. Um, so, Luna was asking, is this can be done with all districts? The devices they use. Yes, 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 yes. Okay, devices. The device they use is, since it is a web-based program, they can use any device. They can use their phone, which we do not allow them to use their phone because then that is open another can of worms on some stuff. But we let them use their Chromebooks. It can be used on um, uh, um, the iPads, things like that. So it's web based. So if they have internet access, they can get to the hall pass. So they can write their own hall pass. Now there's some where you can structure it where they have to go to a particular laptop or desktop, and the kids have to go over there and write the pass and have a code in order to have permission to be in the hallway with, to give themselves a hall pass. Okay. This kind of thing created some created us to be a little bit more tired than normal. But it's hopefully giving us more once we get adjusted to it and work out systems. A lot of times our systems aren't in place because you don't know how everything's going to be executed. So once we get used to the system, we can say, oh, well, this works better. This is how I manage this. It gives you notification. And I elected to get notification. Sometimes notifications are crazy. Like, I got a notification for every kid that left my room. Now I have 145 kids that come into my classroom in and out every day. And everybody that asks for a pass, I'm getting an email talking about they asked for a pass. And I'm going to see about shutting that down because it's making me tired. Like, for real. Like, I already get a lot of emails. I don't need any more. Yeah. Well, if you already have your hall passes, I know you're writing them out. I know you guys think writing hall passes, but we have developed arts in writing the hall pass. Like, we have them pre-printed. All we got to do is do like not even a signature. We just do an initial. There you go. Here's a hall pass, whatever. So when kids ask, shoot, tear it off. Here you go. Here you go. Here you go. We still have to write nurses' passes because we have to write what the problem is so the nurse can determine, what to do about the problem. Sometimes students come and they can't always articulate what's wrong, or they're shy or whatever around someone that they haven't been around much. And or sometimes they're in a state where they're crying and things like they can't get it out. So we have to still write hall passes, and legally they have to have documentation of why a teacher sent a child out and why a nurse had to see them. So we still have to write those physically, but the nurse also does the digital passes back, so we can see who's in the hallway coming back and see if they are like horse playing around or something in the hallway. Anyhow, it's been a long week, y'all, and I'm a grown up, so I'm about to take a sip of my my grown up juice. Mm. Okay. Um, ano- Another reason why we may have some anxiety or for the up and coming school year at the beginning is that over the summer and probably starting at the end of the school year, you start reflecting about, hmm, that didn't go so well. I need to do something different. I need to improve this in some kind of way. Um, so you start thinking, okay, I have a different value system. Um, for many years, um, it's not that I was trying to be like teacher of the year or getting get any recognition from anybody, being like teacher of the year. I was nominated as Disney Teacher of the Year one year, but when I tell you that for many years and probably a decade and a half, I spent everything in the classroom. I mean, I all my energy, and it's easy for your energy to be sucked up by others. I know people talk about um, oh, positive energy and get your negative energy from around me. It's very very true. People carry energy. They also pull energy from you just by being around you, just by having a conversation. Have you ever felt tired with certain of your friends and you're like, oh Lord, she coming? And I don't know why she make me tired just being around me, but she coming or he's coming. And boy, it's because other people's energy pulls from you a little bit. And so, especially people who work in secondary, we deal with so many students, so many children that your energy is pulled and you don't even know it. You don't even realize it. So, for many years, I would give everything to my teaching, mind, body, soul, energy, to whatever lesson I was doing. I mean, everything. You teach the kids kinesthetically movement. So you have to teach them that. You have to actually do it and join them in it. And so I would come home and I would sit on the sofa or go straight to my bed and do this. I would actually just fall out and just go to sleep. But then when you have a different value system that you like, okay, I'm going to reserve some things, some energy for myself at the end of the day. I'm going to reserve some energy for people I love at the end of the day because you can let it all suck out of you, or you can try to say, you know what, I'm going to do the best I can without exerting myself to the point of exhaustion. Now, saying that in your head and having new value systems in your head is better, is easier said than done. Sometimes you also have value systems like, "Ah, I'm just going to drink more water. I just have to. Um, I have to drink more water. I know I talk all day, but I really need to do a better job at drinking water." There are some teachers who've done so bad that they have kidney stones. They have to have surgeries by the time that they retire because of incontinence situations, because of their bladder. And when they drink, maybe they can't go to the restroom. Um, Now I have a value system that I call somebody to try to relieve me and watch the students if I really have to go. Now, a lot of times I still hold it. But if I really have to go because I've been doing a great job with drinking my water and taking care of myself, then I have to get someone to relieve me. Now, it's hard to say, I just need to go to the restroom when you got 80 other teachers in the building who may need to go, you know what I mean? Also, or that everybody's sacrificing because I have 4 classes back to back, and there's only 3 minutes or 4 minutes in between time to and you cannot do that. You can't and monitor the hallways and things like that. So you can't really go to the restroom without leaving some kids unattended or attended by just the hallway cameras. So having new value systems can give you other anxieties that, hey, how am I going to handle this year? How am I going to manage this year? What is my attitude going to be as far as my boundaries? It's great to develop boundaries, but you don't have to be defensive about your boundaries. And it's hard when you're convicted about something. It's hard not to sound like you don't have an attitude about it. Like, I need to go to the bathroom. I'm tired of waiting. I'm tired of not going, right? So it you just have to, there's some kind of anxiety around that. And so I want to talk about another form of psychology. Are you seeing more parents choosing homeschool their kids this year? If so, what are some of the reasons? Oh, well, I do not teach in an affluent um, public school. Most people work that send their children to public school. And I don't know, in the pandemic, a lot of people were wanting to send their kids back to school because they have to work and they're not able to manage that. Now, there have been some people I've heard um, trying to develop some kind of co-op where they have a group of teachers and a group of, or maybe 2 teachers, and they get a neighborhood of children, and they decided to opt out and do homeschool, and those teachers do homeschool curriculum, or maybe the parent that stays at home. um, at my school, there are not a ton of parents that stay at home. And when they do, they have decided from their experience over the pandemic that that is not their calling. And I'm okay with that. It You have to really have a calling to be a good teacher and to be a teacher that has longevity. It's got to be your calling. And your calling does not always last your whole life, but if you do a good job at it, then that's got to be part of your calling. I believe that. So going um, back to the psychology of education, if you've been in education a while, you kind of get to know personalities. You get to know what troublemakers look like, what good children look like or sound like, or how they conduct themselves. You can see trouble a mile away. You can see where coworkers or new teachers may struggle from the beginning, because what you don't learn in school for teaching is the sheer draining of your energy, the sheer um, strength you have to have, and being consistent. That takes a lot of energy and strength and determination and intentionality to be consistent every class period. To also be consistent in your demeanor. And what I mean by that is, I got to work the other day, and I have been trying to make smoothies every morning and be consistent with that, so I can have my fruits and vegetables in my drink. And if I get a little hungry, I don't snack on sugary or salty snacks. So I've been making my smoothie, and I closed the lid, so I thought, and put it in a bag because I wasn't drinking that. I was also drinking coffee or tea or something. that morning on the way to work. And so I planned on drinking my smoothie when I got to school. And and when I say the container was like this big and this wide of my smoothie, the whole thing. And the reason why I didn't put it in the cup holders because it was so big it doesn't fit in the cup holder in my car. It fell in my bag with my planner. Lord, we live by the planner as a teacher. All that smoothie was on my planner, my sample notebook that I make for kids to see how the teacher does. Oh, yeah. This happened when I walked in school. The whole thing dumped in my bag. And I start first period in about 45 minutes. My demeanor still has to be, good morning. Come on in. This is what Miss Powell has in store for you today. uh, but it takes self-discipline and intentionality for you to do that. And I did it as best as I could. It took me a while to clean it all up. When I took the cup to the teacher's lounge, it dripped and it dripped all in the hallway. So that means I had to go get a wet paper towel and some dry paper towels and clean the floor so nobody slip and fall. It was drama, y'all. It was drama. And I was not in a great mood until I had to say, fix your face, like your mama would say. Fix your face. The last thing I like to talk about is just reading the room. We become experts at reading the room. We become experts at understanding who's going to last in this profession and who's not. And I feel like that is a skill that I would have never developed if it was not for education. I would not have developed a skill to be able to look at a person, hear some of the things that come out their mouth, and say, that's not going to work. That attitude is not going to work. Or you just don't know how far humbleness will get you, right? So we have this new teacher, and we were saying, hey, I hope, are you ready? Do you think you're ready? And the teacher was very boastful. Wasn't her first year teaching. She was very boastful about, this is only one topic or one subject I'm teaching. I came from elementary and I had to teach all 4 core subjects and I had to plan for each of them. And so I'm going to be all right. And I feel like that was very overly confident. Anytime you're in a new environment, even if you've done the job before, when you're in a new environment, it means that there are some things you don't know. In a new school, a new area of work, it just means that you don't know everything. So it behoove you to be like, okay, how do you do this? Okay, how should I do this? Or how is this handled? Even though you have experience. And that tells me that you are going to be loose with other things. You're loose with your mouth. You're overly confident about some things. That means you're not going to necessarily ask for help when you need it. And so I feel like some of those people struggle the most. But when you're humble enough to say, man, I don't have it together, I need help, then I feel like that's where you can embrace change, and you can embrace what to do and grow. You have the space to grow when you're humble. But just wanted to kind of go over a couple of things psychologically that we're up against in education, or not even up against. I hate to use that kind of thing. I hate to use verbiage um, that that communicates like it's a war or something like that. Like, I hate when people say war on drugs or war on this and war on guns. Why do we have to have a war? Why can't we just have a conversation about some things and come to a resolution about conflict but not war, or challenges but not war. So what I want you guys to know is that when you see your teacher friend get in an uproar or they're just uptight, you know, let them know that no matter how the year starts or how things are, you think things may be going, that it's going to be all right. You can't mess it up that much unless you are that bad of a person. That means you're a bad person, not necessarily just a bad teacher. So if you're a good person and you try to do the best and give people the best of you, not all of you, but the best you have to offer of yourself, then I think things will turn out well, and we could all develop compassion around that. And without further ado, I just want to leave you guys, and hopefully I'll get a guest soon. But I've had a couple of people kind of bail out on me getting their children off to college, and that's understandable. You just pulled in so many different directions at the beginning of the school year. So I can't wait to talk to you in the next 2 weeks. Okay.